From Indiana's #1 news source, this is Fox 59 News at 10.
A major revelation in the murders of Abby Williams and Libby German in Delphi. Carroll County prosecutor Nicholas McLellan says he has reason to believe the man arrested and charged in this case isn't the only one involved.
For the first time today, we saw 50-year-old Richard Allen in court. And tonight, we're hearing from his defense attorneys who claim he's innocent.
Our client's the wrong guy.
Right now, Allen remains in custody, a judge weighing whether to unseal the probable cause affidavit as the nearly 6-year-long investigation takes a new turn. And it was a packed court hearing today in Carroll County, the first in the Delphi case, with the media and members of the public present as it happened. Thanks so much for joining us tonight at 10. I'm Dan Spieler.
And I'm Birchelle Edmay. Today's hearing was centered around one main question. Should the probable cause affidavit related to the arrest of Richard Allen remain sealed? That document still remains sealed right now, but that could change.
And during today's hearing, we learned new information from the prosecution and the defense on this case that has gained national attention from the start. You're watching 50-year-old Richard Allen right now as he was walked into the Carroll County Courthouse this morning. The special judge overseeing the case, Allen County Judge Fran Gull, requested that he be present for the hearing. Allen is charged with 2 counts of felony murder in connection with the deaths of Abby and Libby. The documents connected to his arrest have been sealed at the request of the Carroll County prosecutor.
Now, Judge Gull is deciding whether to unseal that document. In court today, she heard arguments on that. The Carroll County prosecutor gave her a redacted version of the affidavit. She will rule on whether to unseal the original document or the redacted document given today, or to keep it sealed. Prosecutor McLellan argues the affidavit should stay sealed. One of his main arguments is the belief that Allen may not be the only one involved in the murders. He also argues if an unredacted affidavit is released, witnesses could be harassed. The prosecutor shared a letter from Libby's grandmother saying she doesn't want sensitive information released to the public. He also referenced a Change.org petition with more than 41,000 signatures. Those signatures in favor of the documents remaining sealed. Now, Prosecutor McLellan avoided our cameras after this hearing.
Allen's defense attorneys told us they've read the sealed probable cause affidavit. They argue that their client is innocent, and they want the probable cause to be unsealed.
Transparency is important in government. It may be weird for defense lawyers, I suppose, to be arguing that we want things unsealed, but that's how confident we are in our client. That's how confident we are that the evidence contained in at least what's written in the probable cause affidavit is nothing for us to worry about.
Fox 59's Max Lewis spoke to Allen's defense team after the hearing, and they told him they're not at all impressed with the case against him.
Once it's opened up, the probable cause affidavit will have more questions than answers.
While Richard Allen's defense attorneys couldn't talk about what that affidavit says, they did indicate it doesn't say much of anything.
We don't know what other evidence is out there, but we're confident that whatever is out there is not going to be enough to show that our client did anything here.
They say that revelation by prosecutor Nicholas McLellan that he has reason to believe there was someone else involved in the murders of Abby and Libby came as a shock to everyone, including them.
If you read the probable cause affidavit, it does not mention anything about any other person. That was news to us.
They are adamant that Allen has been wrongfully accused and said he has no idea why any of this is happening.
Our client, very emotional, looked us in the eye. He said, "I am not guilty. Thank you for helping us, helping me."
Allen's wife and another family member were in court today. As Allen was led away, he mouthed, "I love you," and both of them broke down in tears.
They love each other, and she fully supports him, but it is devastating. She's scared.
When and if that affidavit is released, Allen's attorney said everyone will see why they say they don't have much to worry about.
You guys will read the probable cause affidavit yourselves. You will determine for yourselves whether that is what a 5-year investigation looks like in terms of a probable cause affidavit.
Max Lewis, Fox 59 News.
Also today, Judge Gohl set a bail hearing for Allen. His attorneys filed a motion for that hearing yesterday. They argued that Allen should be freed on a reasonable bail or released on his own recognizance, which would mean he wouldn't have to post bail as long as he agreed to appear in court when required. So that hearing scheduled for February 17th. For now, Allen does remain in the custody of the Indiana Department of Correction. Detectives arrested him October 26th. He was charged and had his initial hearing 2 days later, though no members of the media or public were present at that hearing. His arrest still was largely unknown to the public. Allen sent a letter to the court asking for a public defender November 9th. The court appointed 2 attorneys November 14th and today represented him in court for the first time. His trial is scheduled to start in March.
Today's hearing led to some new questions about this investigation and if there will be more arrests. Fox 59's Eric Graves spoke about today's developments with an expert investigator, though, who is not connected to this case.
Suspect information still hangs in these windows in downtown Delphi, all while the main suspect in this case was across the street in court today. People we talked to here in downtown Delphi are full of questions, but the document that has some of those answers continues to be sealed.
Was there anybody with them, or what's the evidence against them?
There are still a lot of unknowns here in Delphi. Tuesday morning, Judge Fran Gohl made no decision on whether or not to unseal the probable cause affidavit behind Richard Allen's arrest.
I really have a hard time understanding the reason behind their keeping all this so secret.
Robert Snow is a retired IMPD captain. He led the homicide division for 6 years. He is not connected to the Delphi investigation. In court Tuesday, Carroll County prosecutor Nick McClelland argued the court docs behind Richard Allen's arrest should continue to be sealed. On the other hand, Indiana State Police Superintendent Doug Carter told Fox 59 he is not opposed to the release. Snow says it's not unusual for the prosecutor and an investigator to not see eye to eye on something like that.
They're both going for the same goal, but there's always some disagreement between the investigators and the prosecutor.
The biggest news out of Carroll County Court Tuesday was McClelland saying they have reason to believe Richard Allen was not the only one involved in the deaths of Abby Williams and Libby German in 2017.
That was like a stone on my head, like they threw a stone at us. It's like, what?
Others aren't surprised to hear there could be someone else involved.
He had to have some help, I think.
Tuesday, the judge also decided Richard Allen will be granted a bail hearing, like his attorneys requested. It's something that surprised Snow.
For this kind of crime, usually there is no bail. There can be, but usually there's not.
The judge will decide whether or not to grant bail to Allen on February 17th.
They can grant bail if the case looks shaky.
One thing everyone we talked to today mentioned is they're looking forward to the day when all the answers are out in the open, especially for the families. Remember, that tip line is still open. We have all that information on our website. Reporting in Delphi, Eric Graves, Fox 59 News.
Well, neither the family of Abby Williams or Libby German had anything to say as they left the courtroom on such a difficult day here, choosing instead to hold peace and continue to follow what's going on in this investigation. But in the meantime, Libby's sister, Kelsey, tweeted to her followers, "I feel your love and support today and always. Thank you." Now, after the hearing, the prosecutor filed a request for a gag order. This would mean anyone involved in this case would legally not be allowed to speak publicly about the evidence, the investigation, or the trial. The defense argued earlier that it's that type of secrecy that broke the public's confidence in this entire investigation. Now, legal experts confirm it is an unusual case here for us to see a probable cause document to be sealed. The defense team, as we heard earlier, encourages the release of this document.
Now, yesterday, an attorney representing Indiana broadcasters filed a brief seeking the release of that affidavit. The document to support the release cited Indiana's Open Records Act and the public's right to know. Today, that attorney told us the community deserves a look at the evidence and said that Allen does too.
Richard Allen deserves an open trial. Whether the allegations against him are true or not remains to be seen, but the public needs to understand those allegations. The investigation is not still going with respect to Richard Allen, so that's one key point. The public has contributed to that investigation, at least the public thinks it has, and he's now been charged, so the public has a right to know what those charges are and the basis for those charges.
Now, Judge Gohl promises to make a decision quickly on whether to unseal none of the documents, some of them, the redacted version, or all of the probable cause. We'll await that ruling and a decision on the prosecutor's motion for a gag order in the case.
Now, the next hearing in this case is scheduled for February 17th. And again, that's a bail hearing, which Allen's attorneys requested. The judge will decide whether to set bail.
Now, as all of this plays out in court, the investigations into the deaths of Abby and Libby continues. The investigation's taken so many twists and turns through the years. Abby was 13 and Libby was 14 when the best friends were found dead just a day after going for a hike in February 2017. Over the years, investigators have released several clues, including this video and audio from Libby's phone and these 2 sketches. They also released information about a social media account they believe was tied to the case. Transcripts released this year reveal that account, someone behind that account was supposed to meet the girls on the trail the day they were killed. Police traced that profile to a man named Kagan Klein, who was charged in August 2020 in connection to a child pornography case and is currently in custody. He's never been charged or named a suspect in these murders. He says it's also possible his father, Tony, had access to the account, but neither has been charged in the Delphi case, and it's not clear if or how that account is indeed connected to the arrest made in these murders. Tip lines are set up in this case, and they're still open. If you have any information to share, you can contact either the phone number or the email address you see on your screen.
And we also have that tip line information and a complete timeline of this investigation. It's up right now at fox59.com. Now, we've covered every step of this case for nearly 6 years, and we'll continue to push the prosecutor and investigators for answers.